And it's whiskey with a mate. And the whiskey today, only because I'm moving house, and so I'm trying to get the bottles that have got not much in them to empty them so I don't have to pack it. This one's a James Eady 11 years. It actually happens to be a good one because I didn't want my mate to feel like I'd just given the drinks. It clearly is a good one. Otherwise, why is there so much of it drunk? And the other reason I wanted to not think that she's getting the dregs is that because, in a way, you're my boss, aren't you, Siobhan McKenna? Yeah, because I was looking at this and I see you and my boss sort of like twice over. Chairperson of Foxtel, Group Broadcaster Director at News Corp. You've got more titles than I can poke a stick at. And you're also kind of a boss. You're on the board of where I shop, Woolies. And I'm so glad that you've just kind of saved the planet for me.
Yes,
100% renewable energy. You must be thrilled.
I am thrilled.
Are we still
feel
friends?
That enough people...
That's yours. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
This is rather big. I was thinking of getting from home, but I completely forgot, a delicate French whiskey.
Oh.
The French are the biggest drinkers of whiskey in the world. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
No.
how about that?
I can't believe you haven't shared that knowledge with me before now.
Oh, yeah, because we do like to sort of share esoteric knowledge.
We do.
Is there a one-man-up ship on that?
I'm sure there is.
Well, there is, you know, because you showed me, you've got this beautiful statue of St. Roch.
I do. Yeah. Patron saint of plagues. Been very handy this year.
I'll show you what I bought the other day, which is nothing like it. Yeah, you inspired me, but you're still up on the, you know, up there in me. Now, you're also the author of this Man in Armour, which we talked about last time, which I've read in about 4 nights, which for me is like express train speed. Corporate shenanigans.
Yes.
Unbelievable how mean people act to each other. And what disturbs me, of course, is that you have spent your career at that level of business. And for me, that suggests that you think that the behaviour you've witnessed at the top is shocking, and this is your expose.
Well, I certainly intended to write it so that people who have experience in the business community recognise it. This is indeed what it's like.
It is indeed what it's like. The behaviour you usually describe.
Well, I don't think it's particularly unique to the business community, though. I think...
I'll give you an example. You explain this one. 4 men, 4 top business executives, all rich, hiring collectively a prostitute and setting her up in their apartment.
Yes.
That's what you've seen.
Andrew, I'm not going to comment on any specifics in the book. However, I think that the business world, and in fact the political world or the academic world or the sporting world, is brutal at the top. And people do, well, power leads people to do things that perhaps they wouldn't have thought they would do.
But that would be of a type that you've seen. But here, actually, you know, like, I'm just a little naive Dutch boy from the country. And then I read, like, Alan Tudge, and, yeah, I feel sorry for them. There's nothing as bad as that. But still, you know, Christian Porter, the shenanigans there. What did you make of all that? Affairs with people that weren't their wives, their marriages all going smash up, and... Porter denies having an affair, by the way, but still.
Look, I think that, well, I think the Me Too movement has been extraordinarily interesting. I wasn't sure whether the ABC Four Corners program was actually a Me Too expose about Parliament, or whether it was just intended to be an expose not of Me Too, the Me Too movement, which I think is at least partly about sexual relationships in an environment where there's power imbalance. But I'm not sure whether it was actually just intended to describe a person in terms of a character assassination over a very long time. I wasn't sure which of it was.
What did you make of it? I mean, we're talking about, like in the Alan Tudge thing, right? All right, power imbalance, boss, employee, press secretary. But a press secretary is usually a fairly confident kind of person, professional person. Why, both of them married, why should we have assumed that there was a power imbalance in terms of who wanted, you know, that she was a put-on victim? Why should we assume that?
Well, I don't think that well, I think in this day and age, and certainly my experience over the last 30 years, is that the business community hasn't changed all that much. Things haven't really improved in my sector. And from what I see of politics, not in Australia necessarily, but around the world, the things haven't really improved very much. We still fail to acknowledge that power imbalance compromises consent. And
do you think would have been, do we assume that? Because we don't know the specifics of the relationship. But can we assume that? Isn't that a sexist thing to assume that a professional woman, a married woman, is somehow the victim or is compromised in agreeing to have sex with the boss?
No, I don't think we should presume that, but I think we should avail ourselves of the opportunity to preclude a power imbalance from occurring in a professional sexual relationship.
Yeah, but now you're just talking like risk aversion, kind of, risk management as an executive.
No, I don't think so. I think that there's, as we all know, there are plenty of very successful marriages where people have met at work. And
too true.
And so we know that it can be.
Put up my hand. Yes.
Excellent. And it can be extraordinarily successful. However, you're right, in this day and age, after we have spent, a number of years facing issues like the Harvey Weinstein scandal, we know that we need to do more to protect people who are less powerful than other people in their organisations.
So we can't have people can't have sex at work with willing partners because other people might misuse that abuse that authority.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm only saying when there's a reporting relationship, and that can be easily remedied. And so, therefore, transparency creates opportunity to remedy it.
I don't know, it all seems like the dead hand of management over, the beating heart and the heaving bosom of human passions. Hey, the sex scenes in your book, did you find them hard to write?
No, I didn't. Did you find them hard to read?
I sort of read them like this, Don't you think? I was thinking if ever I wrote a book, and I'd love to, I'd be mortified that people would think that was you. You were writing about your own experiences and all that. Do you feel exposed writing that stuff?
Look, I do, but then, as I say, I wanted to create a novel that had authenticity, and I don't often see powerful people in politics, as we've been talking about, or people in business, or people in sport, people in religious organisations who don't have a sexual element to them, and that plays out on a much broader canvas if these people are at the top of organisations.
Is that in part because business, people who really succeed in business have a great drive quite often, and a wish for power, and that includes sexual power?
Look, I think there are the protagonist in my book, Charles, could be described as aggressive, intelligent, ambitious, and those character traits have been enormously useful for most people since one of your favourite themes, the world has become more democratic and we now live in meritocracies. Therefore, these people who 500 years ago would have been trapped in whatever their class structure was, now emerge to the top, whether they're in England or the US or Australia, whether they choose to become doctors or lawyers or politicians or business people. And so, yes, I think there is a common thread running through all of them.
Sex and wealth. That's, I guess, the themes all the way through. Human beings don't change that much. Siobhan McKenna, thank you so much for your time. You didn't even have a sip of my whiskey. It isn't that bad.